There was a question on how to texture the ground on the ground and sky file, and I'll show you the issue I'm having first and then how to solve it, or the issue you may run into, I should say, and how you can solve it. So first you'll want to get a texture. I went to textures.com. You can do a free login and you get some free credits here. I downloaded, I went under soil and I chose cracked. And you're going to want to choose one of the seamless textures, and they're marked as seamless in the menu. The free ones aren't that high resolution. I don't think you should need to pay for anything just for the class. But there's a lot of choices, and mostly see that in the top corner it'll say whether it's seamless or not. So you'd want something that looks like somewhat big, like kind of far away. Like I would say this one would not be very good, for example. So sort of for a big scene like this, the further away it looks, the better. And anyways, I chose this one that looked pretty far away. But so pick one, download it, put it in the source images directory of your Maya project. So hopefully you're working in the Silver City Maya project, and put it in that source images directory. So I saved it there. I called it soil. And let's, I didn't quite realize there's so many separate files here. That's interesting. So, oh yeah, there's like multiple files there. That's kind of crazy. It's probably, yeah, it's broken up into sections, I guess. Let's hide this for a second. Okay, and what I'll show you will solve this issue too. So I'm going to go ahead and select these, and let's go right mouse click, two panes side by side, and I've put the hypershade in here by going panels, panel, hypershade. And to see what texture's on there, go ahead and just click this button. And actually I don't even need to select that because this one's already assigned to all of those. And that's how they're getting that tan color. But you can kind of see this strange construction where it's very dense, where there's bumps, and then there's a lot of space there, which will add a challenge to texturing it. And you'll see what I mean in a second. I'm going to double click here, map the color on, choose file, browse. It goes directly to my source images directory of my Silver City Maya project where I save the file. Select soil, and let's hit 6 for the texture mode, and you're getting, it looks okay in the middle. You're getting this crazy stretching on the side, and when you look at the geometry, it's not hard to understand why that it would be stretched here, because in NURBS there's this idea of UV space that the way it stretches out the texture onto the surface. So now I could convert it into polygons and lay out the UVs and all that, but there's a really easy way for something like a big square ground like this. So I'm going to undo, and I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to map, and instead of clicking on file, I'm going to right mouse click and do create as projection. Now when you create something as texture as projection, think of it like you're pointing a slide projector at an object, and that's what's giving it its color. I'm going to hit this button to organize the window a little bit. Okay, so you have these extra nodes here. You have the projection node, and you have this 3D texture placement node. And so the 3D texture placement is kind of it's like tiny in the middle here. You can't even see it. It's like the I don't know, where the slide projector is projecting from, if you follow that metaphor. So I'm going to hit with that selected, I'll hit the fit to group bounding box, and you see this kind of long thin thing on the side. But so what's happened is that it's projecting onto the side of this, and that's not going to work. So I'm going to hit E for rotate. Let's rotate, and see this line shows what direction it's pointing, and this is the kind of area of the projection. So let's set that to -90 so it's exactly pointing down on this surface. And now let's hit fit to group bounding box. And now it fits it exactly to the size of the surfaces that it is assigned to. Now I'll go to the file, double click, image name, browse, soil, hit the 6 to show the texture mode. So you're saying you didn't solve anything. Wait a minute. It's just the way it's displaying it. And you'll see quickly, for example, if I hit the regular render button, we'll see that it looks okay. And then if I do renderer viewpoint 2.0, you'll see that it looks all right. Now, there still might be some stretching, because remember, we're doing like a slide projector, and you might notice that, you know, maybe straight down it looks a little better than kind of on the sides of things. There'll be a little bit of stretching here, but if the surfaces are not too steep, it should look okay. The other issue is, you know, this area is very large, and if we get close to anything, you know, if a person is like this big, obviously that's much too stretched out. So what I'm going to do now is go to this Place 2D Texture node and increase the repeat UV. So I'm going to type 24, 24, and boy, it's so dense you can't see it, but let's get a little closer, and now you can start to see the detail. And of course you can play with those numbers and go even higher. I'll just select a few of these vertices and hit F to get it even closer. So now you're seeing the detail, and when you pull out, it looks, you know, more or less like a somewhat even color. So that is a way to assign a texture to the surface. That should work well. There is a catch with projection textures, that if it is a moving or deforming surface, like for example a character or any animated object, there's an additional step that you need to take. You're going to want to switch to the rendering menu, select the surface or surfaces that you've textured, go to texturing, and create texture reference object. Now this is only necessary for objects that are moving. And what essentially it's doing, it's duplicating the object, templating the duplicate, and then basically it will, the templated duplicate that's not going to move when it's animated is going to be the surface that the texture is projected on, and that hidden sort of surface is going to sort of be connected to the moving surface and say, hey, look at how I'm textured, you be textured the same even though you're moving, if you think of it that way. Because, you know, again, sticking with the slide projector metaphor, you know, if you walk through the slide projection, you know, or movie projector or whatever you want to call it, video, people don't use slides anymore. So, but if you kind of were walking through that beam of light, you know, it would look like the texture is kind of swimming and moving over your body, right? So you want it to stay static. So that's only for moving objects, though.